Hello, are you here to debate? Okay, what's your name? Wait, why would we talk about the one we agree on? That's not a debate. I love debating. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I love to debate.
I cannot fucking stand the police. I don't like the prison system. Our court systems are fucked. But I'm kind of curious to hear what you got to say about that. I want to see if we have the same feelings about this stuff.
Who is this again?
I called you yesterday. The
Uh,
caller from the other
uh,
side that wants to find common ground with people on the other side. You don't seem to like that idea, but I do. And so I'm calling you back today. You got an open line? Let's talk about some shit. Let's talk
okay,
about the police.
sure. I
I know
believe the
you think
police to be a state-sanctioned tool of violence used to protect private property and not the interest of the people.
okay. Okay, I don't know. I definitely agree with you there. So
That
what do
was a
you
pretty quick
suggest?
conversation, you
I
know.
mean, I mean, you can't deny there's an awful lot of shitbags roaming around in your community. But how do we deal with problem people in our community if we don't? I'm not saying the cops are really effective at it, but if you go down to a prison, I know some people that work in prisons, and there's people in there that definitely belong in there, and there's a lot of people that are in there that are completely innocent too.
Yeah, we would
So
address the socioeconomic conditions that lead people to commit crime, which is
so
mostly
it's
poverty.
poverty.
Yes, poverty is the poverty plus proximity equals crime.
I know I know people that are wealthy that commit crimes.
Yeah, those would be white collar crimes typically. When we're looking at the crimes that like make up the people in prison, these wouldn't be white collar crimes. That's going to be the minority of people in
Sure.
prison. We're going to be looking at the crimes that
A lot
actually
of them are
send people to jail.
politicians, you know.
Yes, those crimes
So
typically don't send people to
how do we
jail.
deal with I mean, you think prosperity is going to change that? I'm not entirely convinced of that. I mean, if everybody was able to afford their bills and not worry about paying for this and that, had everything that they needed, um, sure. I think that would definitely improve some conditions. But there's some homeless people all up around in my neighborhood too, and none of them commit crimes. You know what I mean? So it's not exactly a perfect science here.
Yeah, again, the crimes that lead people to being in prison though are crimes bred from poverty.
Hmm.
So like the biggest one is like property crime makes up like the most of people in prison. Property crime
So
is property and drug
people
crime. Those
assault
are directly
people. I mean, assaults, rapes,
even assault
that
has
kind of
links.
stuff.
Even assault has links in poverty because the stressors of poverty lead people to be more violent when they have the stressors of poverty. So yeah,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Um, I don't know. I feel it's a little more complicated than that. But I think even in, let's say you get everything that you want, and we have all the prosperity that we need to change all the wrongs in our society. I think we would still have crimes. We would still have criminals in the criminal mind, and there's always going to be sociopaths. There's always going to be people who are just outright dangerous for no good reason.
yeah. But if we remove all of the people that are in crimes due to societal issues, due to the economic conditions that they live in, we're going to be much better off to deal with the minority of people that are committing crimes because they're quote unquote
Okay,
sociopaths.
sure, sure.
We'll have
And
way more resources to deal with that.
how will we deal with them?
What do you mean?
How would we deal with those people in the event that if everything is like you described? How would we as a society deal with those kinds of people? We don't have police. We don't have
Just because
state
we don't have
employees.
police doesn't mean wait. Just because we don't have police doesn't mean that we can't have systems that are used to handle crime and whatnot. We just wouldn't have a state sanctioned
I'm
system
more
that
in
exists
favor
to help.
of citizens themselves taking care of their communities. That kind of opens the door for people to do bad things under the guise of that excuse. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's without government intervention, I think there's a lot of people in their neighborhood that would be more likely to go deal with some shitbag if they weren't worried about being prosecuted. Or I mean, because this happens to people sometimes, even with a home invader. Somebody breaks into their home, they shoot the guy, and then they're on trial, and that's I think that's pretty unacceptable. So a lot of people, a lot of times, are reluctant to pull the trigger or to step in or to help a neighbor that's being attacked or someone in a parking lot. A lot of times people don't want to jump in. Some people do, but a lot of times people are reluctant. They're hesitant to do that because of government intervention. So I'm not a fan of the state in any sort of way. I'd like to have a lot less government in our lives in every possible way. I mean, especially when it comes to our money and everything else, our property. You don't truly own that property if you have to continue paying taxes. If the government can come and take it from you because you didn't pay the tax, then truly they own it, not you. That's not true ownership, you know. So I think what we have overall is a government problem, damn near in every corner of all of our social issues. Is it leads back to government. All roads lead back to government.
Okay.
So what kind of government should we have?
A people run government, not a state run government.
A small government.
Well, there should be no
Problem
federal
is we
government.
have 330 plus million people in this country. It'd be very difficult. And we're kind of divided down the middle, 50-50, arguing about all kinds of crazy shit. I'm of the belief, I don't, if you look at your typical Trump supporter, I don't really fall in the same categories with them people because I don't agree with every little thing. I definitely can't stand hearing them complaining about abortion. And if somebody gets an abortion, it has no effect on me, and it doesn't affect others. It's one situation where they want to tell one group what to do, and then on the other hand, they're saying we don't want to be told what to do. It's hypocrisy. So I'm not a part of the abortion argument. I see you put in there abortion up to 9 months. I'm not really a fan of that, but I mean, I wouldn't do that. So therefore, I'm liable for my actions. So if that's the kind of thing that some people want to do, like that's on them. It's got nothing to do with me. It doesn't affect me. I'm responsible for me and my own and my decisions.
Okay.
And I'd like to see a lot more people on my side start practicing a little more what they preach when it comes to shit like that. We're not supposed to be petitioning the government to decide things for other people. And the left needs to do that too.
Okay.
I like I said, I told you yesterday, we want the same things.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but okay.
I think that is true. You made a baseless accusation that everybody over here on the right just wants an entirely white neighborhood and all this kind of I hear you people say that all the time. You people have never once proven that. I mean, there are people out there that exist in this world that think that way and act like that, but I'll tell you, I don't know
So
these
again,
people.
just real quick, again, based on the way
I don't know any
conservatives,
of these
again,
people that
based
you
on the
speak of.
way, just real quick, based on the way conservatives vote, they absolutely want a white heteronormative society. That's just based on the voting that they do, based on the policies they vote for. Yeah,
Why?
100%.
What politicians are promoting that idea?
So again, it's going to be
The idea of an all-white
policies.
neighborhood.
I would say removing
It's the
things like
left.
affirm. I
The
would say
left is the ones
removing.
that want
Uh
segregation,
huh.
bro.
I would say removing things like affirmative action. The conservative plan right now is wanting to put marriage back to men and women and remove gay marriage. I'd say these are pretty pretty telling
I've not
of
heard anybody say that. I don't think I would agree with that either. I personally would not agree with that. If gay people want to be married, that, like I said, that's their decision. That doesn't affect me. I don't know why that would bother anybody. It shouldn't. That should not bother anybody. I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak that way. I know that some people don't like some of these other lifestyles, but like I said, I'm of the opinion that let other people be what they want to be. What I don't want is to have other people telling me that I have to agree with something, or I have to, government policies of all things. People have basic rights. People should have their basic rights, but I don't see anybody in any group that has any less rights than I do. That's not a thing.
you have not seen Republicans pushing for marriage to go back to men and women. Who's the Republican? Just real quick, who's the Republican vice presidential nominee?
Oh God, that's that Vance guy. I don't know shit about that guy, and I don't like him. I don't
Okay,
like him. I don't even know who the fuck he is. I don't even know where he popped up and how all of a sudden he's on the radar. But I'm not excited about that guy at all.
so
I am not excited about that guy.
JD Vance said, and I
You know who he
quote,
reminds me of?
hold
He
on, hold
reminds me
on.
of the super Christian from that came to visit Tony Soprano in the hospital with that crazy look in his eyes. That's who that guy
Hmm.
reminds me of.
Okay, well, JD Vance not only has endorsed Project 2025, which says that they want to turn marriage back to just men and women, but he also wrote the foreword for the book of the author of Project 2025, saying that this is a man that is going to lead America to the next great whatever they think America will be. He has endorsed it time and time again. So if the vice
I've
president,
heard he's a super Christian.
yeah,
I've heard that.
if the vice president is supporting a plan to move back to a time when marriage was just for men and women, I'd say that shows me, and especially since conservatives are going to vote for him, that conservatives are voting for the idea of limiting rights of a specific group of people. This would be people who are part of the LGBTQ community.
Now, I'm going to say this, and I could be projecting a little, but I don't know. I don't know a single person who is excited about this dude. There were so many other people that could have been much better candidates to be VP, and this guy popped up out of nowhere. And it's partly my fault for not looking into this guy a little more. I really don't know a lot about him, so I'm gonna take your word for it, and I'm gonna look up a little more about that guy. But I would have to assume, regardless of that guy and his bullshit book and whatever, that the majority of people are voting in favor of Donald Trump and not necessarily his VP. Because
If Trump
I honestly, I
chooses
talk to
the
a lot of
VP,
people. I talk to a lot of people online, and I don't know anybody that's really excited about that guy.
do you think that presidents choose vice presidents that don't align with their beliefs?
You got a point, and I'm not going to deny that from you. From what he says, that it had something to do with the states that he comes from, and hopefully latching on to this dude would get him more votes in the Midwest or whatever. I still think that that's a bad move. This is one of them. This is one of them times, man, when Donald Trump has made some decision that I'm not excited about. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not excited about his
Trump?
decisions.
What about Trump in a press conference when speaking to the Heritage Foundation in 2022? He said of the Heritage Foundation, they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do. So it seems like Trump
Okay.
also wants to go with the Heritage Foundation's plans. So not just Vance, but Trump as well. So he chose somebody that was hyper involved with the Heritage Foundation He's said the Heritage Foundation is going to support the conservative movement. The Heritage Foundation is very much in the camp of removing gay marriage. So I would assume this means Trump is in the camp of removing gay marriage.
I don't know. Listen, dude, this is such a gray area because Christian values, man, when you look at the church and you look at all this shit, I am not a fan of the vast majority of Christians and Christian ideology. The Ten Commandments, I mean, if you read the Ten Commandments, it's these are a good guideline, for life, and just these are good guidelines for life. They just aren't. But beyond that, I mean, these organizations have billions of dollars. They're tax free. They're just like any other super PAC or anything else. I mean, and they're full of dangerous people. So I'm not gonna deny the fact that there's a lot of creeps and bad people that are hiding behind the shield of innocence and Christianity or whatever, that are trying to run things from behind the curtains in the political spectrum. And I don't deny that one bit. I'm not a fan of that.
The problem isn't that.
Along,
the problem is these are the people leading the conservative party, leading the conservative movement, are actively against things that you said you are for.
I know.
So why would you vote conservative?
The lesser of two evils, man.
It's the lesser of two evils is removing gay marriage, removing affirmative action, and hiring practices, getting rid of DEI. All those things are the lesser of two evils.
I don't think that they can get that done. I really don't.
They already got affirmative action taken away. Even in a society where it's still harder to get a job when you're black, they removed on the Supreme Court level because Trump stacked the courts. They removed it on the highest level courts you can. That they've not only that, but they've said you can discriminate. Literally, they said based on your religion, you can discriminate. And if we want to go even further, in Florida, where I live, if you're a doctor and your religion is Christian or Christianity, and you don't agree with a patient that's possibly of the LGBTQI plus community, DeSantis signed into law that you don't have to treat that person. You can deny them medical service.
I'm not a fan of that DeSantis guy either.
He's again one of the largest conservative politicians in the country.
Sure. However, I mean, I've probably spent the last 20 some odd years studying globalism and the Davos group and looking into the things that these people are up to, and they're like a far more dangerous group. And they seem to have the vast majority of Hollywood in their pocket, the Democrats in their pocket, more than half of the Republican politicians also in their pocket, which is scary as shit too. I mean, George Bush, I hated that son of a bitch. And who was his VP? Was the CEO of Halliburton and got all the no-bid contracts for the war effort in Iraq and made billions and billions of dollars. I mean, the corruption is just right in our faces, and that was 20 years ago. And it's only grown. It's gotten worse.
Real quick. What do you think is going to happen?
The one thing I'm trying to explain to you, because you don't understand why a lot of us seem to like this Donald Trump. He's an outsider. He's going against the grain of all of these big organizations, because a lot of them. I mean, he's not opposed to the idea of a few corrupt people skimming money off the top. I mean, they all do this. He admitted that. He said we all do this stuff, but they've done it to the point of the detriment of our entire country, the future of our entire country. Our country is going to look like Venezuela within a decade, with the inflation and the national debt and the way that they've looted this treasury beyond belief.
Wait.
And
the inflation,
it's never ended.
Half of inflation is Trump's fault. like directly, especially grocery store inflation
He
is
spent
directly
several
Trump's fault.
$trillion and added to the national debt. Absolutely, they all have.
Well, it's not even
every
that.
single
It's
one of
not
these
even that.
people.
His trade war with China is directly responsible for grocery store inflation because he
Right,
started a
but they've
trade war with
liquidated
China.
our entire industry, and
What?
they've sold our entire industry like some mafia.
What industry
Okay,
was
they
sold? What
sold our
industry
whole
was sold?
industry to China.
What industry was
That's
sold?
why they keep pushing for our gun rights, because people having the ability to form a revolution against all of this is a threat to their bottom line.
What industry
That's
was sold?
damn near all of it. We have almost no manufacturing anymore compared
We
to
have
what we
tons
used
of
to. I mean,
manufacturing.
the auto industry, all of it. Have you seen Michigan?
Yes.
It's terrible. I mean, and that's been going on for a while. That's
Wait,
old
this
news.
doesn't address
Right,
the
but
fact that Trump's trade wars actively caused inflation. This doesn't address that.
the idea was is to pigeonhole these people into a corner to either make it a way that we're benefiting from all of their bullshit also, or to get our industry to come back over here where we're
Except that
reliant
didn't
on our own
happen.
products and our own economy.
Except that didn't happen. Instead, China just said, okay.
Didn't happen because he
No, it
didn't
didn't
get.
happen.
He spent 4 years fighting off attacks and every other damn thing that happened daily to this guy, fighting off like
What?
a whole swamp full of people that undermined him in the government. He doesn't have a
Undermined him. He
doesn't
had
have
control
ears.
of the
Yes.
Senate and Congress. He had a majority. What do you mean undermine? He had a majority. He had this control of Senate. Republicans had the control of Senate and the control of Congress.
Mm-hmm. And how did it work out?
Terribly, because he couldn't get anything done. He couldn't even work with his own people. But the stuff he
Right.
did get done, such as the
Right.
tariffs
They
on
undermined
China,
him
hold on,
every which
such
way.
as the tariffs on China caused a direct result of that was a net loss of 250,000 jobs, as well as the closing of thousands of American-owned farms. He did that. And then because those farms closed, groceries got more expensive because we didn't have the farms to produce. That was his doing.
And the fuel and everything else. I mean, it's debatable who.
Yes,
who
he fucked
more
up
damage.
OPEC too.
I don't want to get into the
destroyed
weeds on
OPEC
that because it's not productive. What I want to get to is this is the one guy that's trying to fight to restore some of this in our favor, whereas the other side of the aisle is in total compliance with it all. They're going to get rich personally, while the rest of the country falls into third world status. They don't.
So wait,
care
just
about
confirming. The guy who runs a mega corporation is not in favor of helping mega corporations.
He's a self-made entrepreneur.
He's not self-made. He is not self-made. His dad gave him a starting loan of like $1 million. That's not self-made.
Okay. It is.
His dad was a real estate mogul, and then he became a real estate mogul.
Okay.
There's no self-made here.
I know who he is. But as opposed to some of these other people, listen, like Hillary Clinton, she worked in the government for a few short years. She's worth $240 million. She couldn't possibly justify that net worth. Where did she get that money? Nancy Pelosi, all of these people worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Donald Trump can at least explain where he made his money.
Yeah, by ripping people off.
I mean, you might say it that way, but how many of us
wouldn't
sat
might
around and
say it
watched
that
those
way.
movies?
Trump
Slow
University
down.
ripped people
Slow
off.
down.
Trump Steaks
Listen,
ripped people
we're
off.
not going to do that. We're not going to argue today, okay? We want to find common ground.
We can't find common ground if your idea is vote for the people that are actively trying to harm communities, because I think those people are the ones that are trying to help me, when I can demonstrate for you time and time again, policy-wise, no, they're not.
I don't think so. I remember the last 4 years of my life under the Donald Trump presidency, and it was a shitload better, I can promise you.
Not because of anything he did. You can't name me a single Donald Trump policy that positively impacted middle-class America. He didn't pass anything.
The day that 2 days before the election, Ford Motor Corp called him and said, if you win this election, we are bringing our factory back to the United States and not Mexico.
Ford
And
can
that's
say
what
whatever
they
the hell
did.
they want.
And other companies started to follow.
No, companies
So
did
he
not.
was onto something. Just because it failed doesn't mean he didn't make an honest attempt to do something. Okay? You see what I'm saying? I think we're fighting for the wrong people.
Yeah, so
I mean,
I just pulled up really quickly,
you do understand that the news. You understand that the news. All of these news companies are owned by like a handful of people, and every single one of them are all in the same freaking social club and the country club together, and have secret meetings together, and they set policy behind closed doors and not on public record. They all attend the Bilderberg group. You understand that, right? That the news.
I just want to point out here that when Ford closed their Mexican plant and they moved 700 jobs back to Detroit, that was because of Bush and Obama era policies, not because of a Trump policy.
No.
Trump's just taking credit.
No.
Yes, I'm looking at it right here.
No, because he removed the regulations that were crippling those companies.
No, Ford was already planning to come back here. Ford was literally before Trump was even elected. Ford was already planning on moving the factory before Trump was even elected.
I know. I hear a lot of this stuff, man, and I'm telling you, it's, everybody can put their own spin on it. But at the end of the day, I mean,
they literally credit it to the Department of Energy Loan Guarantee Program, which was started under Bush, not Trump.
So why didn't it happen during his time? Why didn't it happen during
it took 9 years. The program took 9 years to see the fruits of the program. Most things don't happen immediately. Most when you're putting policy through, most policy does not result in immediate change, and we understand.
I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example.
Sure.
Obamacare. Did they really need to make 2,300-page laws and regulations and red tape and all these extra bureaucracies and all this stuff? I don't know a single doctor that wasn't considering closing his practice because of the insanity of Obamacare and all the regulations and all the crazy shit. When really, if they really just wanted to help some people, all they really needed to do was expand the eligibility of the already installed system that we have for Medicare, Medicaid, and that kind of stuff that we already have. We already have charity health care. All they needed to do was stop pumping billions of dollars into a war and a little more into the healthcare system and make it more available to more people. And that's really all they needed to do. They could have done that with one little page, one little sheet of paper. They didn't need all that insanity. And what was it? It just turns out to be a massive racketeering scheme.
Do you know what the ACA did? Do you know what the ACA did? The ACA was a massive healthcare reform. Do you know how insurance companies
was.
Hold on, you know how insurance companies can't turn you down for pre-existing conditions? That's because of the ACA.
Okay.
That's because of Obamacare.
Well, here's the thing, though.
You know how kids can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26?
You cannot
That's
feed
ACA.
someone a giant shit sandwich without giving them some strawberries too. If the entire thing was nothing but atrocities, it wouldn't look good.
Yeah, the ACA has been a net positive to healthcare.
You know what I mean? If I want to sell you a piece of shit car, I'm going to try to make it look good, and I'm going to hide all the bad stuff about it.
Wait, answer me this question. Trump said he would repeal the ACA and have his own comprehensive healthcare plan in its first year in office. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen his first year.
I know.
Didn't happen his second year.
I know it
didn't happen his third year. Didn't happen his fourth year. So what is he going to do? He doesn't know how to run healthcare programs.
Well, I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy, but he definitely did spend an awful lot of time fending off all these attacks and trying to find out who in his ranks isn't a traitor and a scumbag.
Isn't a traitor. 40 of his 44 cabinet members refused to endorse him. 40 of his 44 cabinet members.
Does that not sound like traitors?
No, it sounds like the common issue is him, not the people. His own vice president, his own previous vice president does not endorse him, does not like him.
Yeah, they were all people that he picked. They were all people that claimed to be his friends, and once they got in there, all of a sudden something happened. You don't think it's possible that billions of dollars being funneled into the pockets of all kinds of people behind the scenes?
Oh, so he doesn't know how to pick. So
You
he
don't
doesn't
think
know
that
how to
people
pick.
can.
He doesn't know how to pick
You
good
don't think
cabinet
that
members.
Vegas
Then
can stage a football game? You don't think Vegas can stage a football game and convince the quarterback to fucking keep dropping the ball and throw the game?
Why should we elect someone who's unable to pick appropriate cabinet members? If Trump can only pick traitors, why would I choose him then? He doesn't know character. He's bad at
Then
judging
why do we
character.
want to? Then why do we want to give the traitors and the monsters all the power
I don't think
and give it all to them?
the Democrats are quote unquote the traitors here, right? I don't believe this. I believe
Dude,
more
they're
significant
working for
policies.
foreign interests. They are working
So
for
is
foreign
Trump.
interests. They
Trump
don't
does
represent
too.
you.
What is this? It's just different foreign interests.
There's a big difference between
I don't
doing
think there
business
is.
deals on a hotel with foreign suppliers and saving a few bucks versus selling out your own government and selling out your own people, selling classified documents to fucking foreign intelligence agencies and all kinds of shit. There's a big difference, bro. There's a big difference between treason and espionage versus entrepreneurialism. Those are
Trump
two very
committed the
different
biggest
things.
treason of all. Like, what do you mean?
When
He
did he commit
literally did
treason?
an insurrection. That's treason.
Oh my God, that's so not true. I'm so tired.
It is.
I don't want to talk.
I've
about
read
that.
the
biggest
entirety of
nonsense.
I've read the entirety of the indictment against him for that. He absolutely did.
Yep. No, I was there. I mean, I remember watching his speech and hearing what he said. Pretty sure he never did tell anybody, "Hey, go down there and break shit and commit crimes."
He said
never
you
told
have to
anybody
he
that.
said you have to fight because they're trying
Fight
to
like
take
hell.
your
Yeah.
country back. He said you have to fight
Yep.
like hell because they're trying to take your country from you. What is
Peacefully
fight?
go down there and
He
protest.
didn't say
And
peacefully
then
go
when
down there and
things started
protest.
to get a little bit ridiculous down there, he did ask people to go home.
3 hours later, he did not tweet
Yeah, I mean,
to them to go home until 3 hours later.
irregardless, nobody
Not
told
irregardless.
anybody.
He could have
People are
immediately
responsible
said
for their
he could have
own actions.
immediately said get out of the Capitol, but he didn't. He waited 3 hours to tweet and to say anything, and what he said was, "Well, now you guys should leave." After causing mass amounts
Either
of
way,
damage,
Either way,
after
it's our
assaulting Capitol
capital.
Hill police officers,
It's
now
our
you should leave.
capital. It's our capital, and everybody there that's in the crowd believes that the election was illegitimate and that there
Except
was
it
some kind
wasn't.
of fraud
Except there's
going
no
on.
evidence that
They
it
got
was.
every right.
There's zero
Bro,
evidence
listen.
that it was legitimate. All the stuff put up. In fact,
That's
when
not
you even
necessarily true.
look at the cases
Either
that
way,
Trump.
let me
Hold on. No.
let me just
Nope.
ask you this.
Nope. I'm gonna say this right now. Every case Trump and his lawyers brought before judges at no point claimed that there was election fraud. That's not what they claimed. They claimed there was issues with the process of the election. That's what every one of the court cases said. That's why they were all thrown out.
Yep.
When Giuliani was sued, Giuliani said, "Well, of course, when I said there was fraud, I was kidding. No reasonable person would have thought that I was saying the truth." Fox lost the Dominion lawsuit. They booted Tucker Carlson, who even in private text said, "Of course, there's no voter fraud. We just have to say this so our base will keep watching us." There is no evidence anywhere of this widespread voter fraud, and especially none that's big enough to have caused Trump to win the election. All he did was lie, and you fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
I don't believe that. I also don't believe that our court systems are actually fully intact, and I don't believe that all of them are legitimate. I don't think that the court systems that we, the citizens, deal with on a regular basis, like traffic court and this and that, even those systems are so completely broken and corrupt. And we all know this. So in this one instance where the court makes a decision and it's the decision that you would have liked to have heard, you totally agree with them. But in other situations, I know you would not agree with their decisions. And that's where there's this gray area in the middle. You understand?
Yeah, so
And everybody,
again,
all of us,
so
you, me,
everybody.
we're all
First
taking
of all,
shit for
first of
this.
all,
Do you
first of all,
understand?
first of
We're
all,
all
a bunch of
taking
the
shit for
I just
this.
want to wait. I just want to let you know a bunch of the judges that threw out these cases were Trump appointed judges. So now he can't appoint his own cabinet because he just picks all traitors. Apparently, he picks crooked judges, so he picks them as well. What? So if Trump's this huge bad judge of character, why would we elect him if he can't even pick these people?
I think that the corruption and the mafia and the threatening and the intimidation is a lot more than a lot of people think. There's a lot more things happening behind the scenes that you and I don't even get to see. I mean, if I can see this stuff happening amongst my family members that work in local government around here, and I can witness this kind of stuff in some small community, 2,500 people. I mean, you don't think that at the highest levels that these people are complete and utter hyenas in every corner,
I don't like the federal
especially when
government.
there's millions of dollars at
Hold
stake.
on. I don't like the federal government. I'm going to make that very clear here. I do not
Okay,
like the federal government.
I don't
But
trust anything that they
this
do.
idea that Trump is the solution when he has been just widespread caught lying, cheating, defrauding, all of these things he does to claim that he's the guy that's going to quote unquote drain the swamp is ridiculous. And it holds no
Well,
weight in like objective fact and
I certainly don't
reality.
want to grow. I don't want to grow the swamp and comply with the swamp. I don't want to live in the Soviet Union, bro.
First of all,
That's where we're going to be.
this idea that the centrist Democrats, the centrist capitalist Democrats want to move to any sort of socialism or communism is nonsense. If the Democrats were truly socialist, do you know how quickly I would vote for them? Do you know how quickly I'd be a Democrat shill? But they're not. They are capitalists. They are capitalist centrists. They are centrist at bet. Establishment Democrats are centrists. They are not
Yeah, but at the
any
end,
type of
at
leftist.
the end of all, dude, you don't understand what's happening. When they're done liquidating everything in our assets, we have almost nothing left except like a service economy, pretty much.
What?
And at the end of this decade, everyone's resources will be depleted. There'll be nothing left. There will be no service to be had. Eventually, that's what we're going to slide into.
You're just doing
Have you
conspiratorial
ever heard
speak.
of United Nations Agenda 21?
I hold on. We need to address a few things here. First and foremost, we have 12 million people working manufacturing jobs in the US. 12 million.
Mm-hmm. 330 million population.
Not every job is going to be a manufacturing job.
Yeah, but we used to have 10 times that much. We used to have 10 times as much industry like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We started the Industrial Revolution. We showed the entire world how to do this. Us.
First of all, we did not start the Industrial Revolution. Britain did.
Yes, we did.
No, we did not. Britain did.
We taught those people how to live.
No. We did not start the Industrial Revolution.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
What we created in a short time in America is far bigger and more prosperous than any other system in history. Ever. No other system, our Constitution, our whole structure has created more prosperity, more wealth, more freedom than any system on earth since the dawn of time.
I'm sorry, we have more freedom than like indigenous tribes did? How do you quantify that?
I don't want to go into the weeds about
how do you quantify it?
Tribes.
Wait. You said we had more freedom than any society on earth. So you have to defend that claim. So now when I'm saying, well, how do we quantify it against these societies that were genuinely completely free because there was no system at all?
We're talking about modern history. We're not talking
okay,
about...
so now we're changing. Now the goalpost has moved. So don't say of any society of all time, like you said, because you don't actually mean that.
I meant all of those things: prosperity, wealth, freedom.
Prosperity. We have a fucking huge.
Yeah.
We have a homeless population 600,000 people deep. Where's the
Yeah,
prosperity?
and in other countries, that's the standard of living. That is the standard of living in a lot of places.
The difference is,
And you know what? They
the
don't have
difference
a
is,
charity health care either. A
wait,
lot
the
of these people
difference
that are
is,
homeless are mentally ill. They
the
have
difference is,
benefits available to them, but they're ill, and they need their family members or whoever to help them and guide them and get them into those offices filling out those papers and stuff. And a lot of times these people are sick and can't care for themselves, and they're just living in the streets.
just FYI, only 31% of the homeless population reports having any serious mental health issues. So no, the majority of them do not have mental health issues. Like you just said.
A lot of them, how do you think they got there?
There's multiple ways to become homeless. I've been homeless before. It's not about mental health issues. It's about lack of access to. Do you have mental health issues?
No.
Okay, so we know that you can be homeless without there being mental health issues. So again, this is just FYI. This is according to.
Good majority.
Wait, hold on.
I didn't say all.
Yes, you did. You said most. You said most of them have mental health issues. It's not even a majority of them that do. It's less than half.
Most is not all. There's a gray area everywhere.
Most is going to be more than half. That's how you quantify most. If I had 10 apples and 2 of them are green, I'm not going to say most of my apples are green. But it's not even half. Okay. Why can't you just say I was wrong? Like, it's not hard to do. Instead, you're trying to rewrite the way that we use language to prove yourself right, instead of just saying, sorry, I was wrong. Most of them don't have mental health issues.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. The statistics in every city are not exactly all the same.
We're looking at nationwide, not per city. Nationwide, this is data given to us by the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Nationwide, we got a homeless problem full of illegal immigrants too, by the millions. How do we classify them?
Oh my God. We don't have a homeless issue of millions of illegal or undocumented immigrants because we only have 600,000 people in the country that are homeless. Those numbers don't anywhere connect. Yes.
These people, who's counting all these people?
The Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Because I got one side of the aisle is saying it's only 600,000, and the other side of the aisle saying that they're pouring in by the millions.
Because conservatives lie. The conservatives are lying to you, and you ate it up. Speaking of that, Flying Leech even asked what flavor of Kool-Aid you're drinking. Like, you're eating up the lies, and then you're spewing them back when the actual relevant data doesn't show this.
We've already, at the end of the day, this is the whole point of all the shit, is that me and you are sitting here arguing over stupid shit instead of getting things done and holding these people accountable for the shit that they've done.
Wait, how can I hold them accountable when you think they've done stuff they haven't done? What am I holding them accountable for? You think they're pouring in millions of migrants and that they're all...
When we all find common ground, hey, I'm trying to give you the solution here. I'm not your enemy, bro.
No, you're just voting in my enemy. You're just voting in my enemy.
Doesn't matter.
HR, thank you for gifting a membership over on YouTube.
Stranger bleeding on the sidewalk, whatever, I would help you.
Except you're not going to pass through policy that's going to help me. You're not going to vote for people. I do, because the people you're voting into power are actively harming communities that I like and communities that I cherish and hurting those people. So yeah, you can sit here and try to morally grandstand, but it doesn't work.
Jim Crow laws in place before, and now he gloats about his wonderful civil rights record. And so I don't feel too great about some of the people that you like either.
Did I ever say I like Joe Biden? Have you ever heard me say I like Joe Biden?
You'd vote for him, though, would you?
Have you ever heard me say I like Joe Biden? I think Joe Biden is a hack.
It doesn't matter if you like him or not. You're going to vote for his VP.
I'm going to vote for them over. I'm going to vote for them. I'm going to vote for them over Trump because Trump has shown very consistently that he is incapable of passing relevant policies that help middle-class America. He's incapable of working with anyone, hence why all of his people drop out on him. He's incapable of telling the truth. He constantly defrauds the American people. He's been found liable in court for sexual harassment and assault. No, I'm not going to vote for this guy. I'm not going to vote for the guy who said I can just walk into women's changing rooms because I ran the beauty pageant, so I could just go in to those rooms. No, I'm not going to vote for that guy. That's nonsense.
So you want to vote for the other side that does basically all the same things.
Oh my God.
Some of these, they're just as.
Every fucking accusation is a fucking confession. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I can't fucking do this, bro. I need the fucking pivots to stop. I'm not going to vote for Trump because he does X, Y, and Z. What about these other people doing X, Y, and Z? Bro.